Hey everybody, hope all is well and that things are cool in your world. I want to thank you guys for supporting the channel and checking checking out the content and all that. Really appreciate the support. If you could subscribe, like, comment, share, all that business, that would be really cool. Really helps out the YouTube algorithm and helps the channel grow and keeps me motivated to keep doing this, because I like sharing these stories with you guys. Speaking of that, this was one of my cooler kind of moments or whatever time that I spent with GG. As I've mentioned to you guys on other videos, and I apologize if I'm repetitive, I just can't remember everything I've said in some of the other ones, but the time I was working with GG, I was going to the University of South Florida in Tampa, and I was working for a division inside of the university called Media Productions. And basically that was, we'd shoot class lectures and then beam them to the different campuses, in other cities, like St. Pete or whatever. And also we'd edit video lectures, and all this was these old school 3/4 inch video decks. Just kind of funny considering where we're at now, all these years later, in terms of technology. But anyways, the people I work for were really cool. They had seen me, they'd let me edit GG videos. In fact, I edited this GG piece called Portrait of the Enemy that I passed over to Susie Morbid, and she ended up playing it on her cable TV show, public access show, and got in all kinds of trouble for it. And and in fact, that's the same public access show that GG and the Disappointments invaded a couple years earlier when they played at the Harbor Club. That's going to be covered on the DVD that's going to be released on TPOS and that I'm working on currently. Anyways, the reason why I bring that all up is because my supervisor, excuse me, at Media Productions was a guy named Jerry Parker. Really cool dude. Rest in peace, Jerry. They had all seen me editing all these GG things over the course of several months, and and they were anxious to meet GG. They wanted to meet him, so when he was at the house or whatever, I brought him down, and everything was kind of cool. Well, before GG came to town, Jerry asked me, he's like, "Hey, do you want to use my acoustic guitar? I'd be more than happy to loan that to you." And I said, "Absolutely, that'd be great." And he's like, "Just do me a favor. Try not to let him bust it up." Because Jerry knew how GG was. Of course he didn't. He was respectful of it. But anyways, I bring that up because, without Jerry loaning me that guitar, we don't have the acoustic material that GG did during that week when he was at my place, when we were making Carnival of Excess. And as I've told you guys, the acoustic stuff to me that GG did was some of his most powerful, in my opinion. I always really gravitated toward that, and as I've said before, I kind of wanted to do a whole album of acoustic. Ironically, we didn't use any acoustic guitars when we made Carnival of Excess. It's kind of funny that people call that an acoustic album, which there's no acoustic guitars on it, but whatever. But anyways, I had this guitar at the house, and it was kind of nice because we ended up using it as a prop for the, the photo shoot that GG did with the strippers. And, GG would just noodle around with it on occasion. And, I played, or I should say, I videotaped GG playing the guitar, just strumming around. We were listening to Hank Williams, and, GG just playing the guitar, listening to it, strumming along with the guitar or whatever, and I videotaped all that. Here's some of that footage now. But also, GG did a couple of songs that night. Now, granted, this was one of those nights where we were pretty wasted. But he ended up doing This Room, which I posted a couple days ago on the channel. You should check it out. It's a really cool version of that one. And then he also made up a tune called No Rights, which he made up on the spot, and that was a song he made up because Razor and I got in a fight, and she told me, that I had no rights to do whatever. Anyways, he tried to make up another tune that night called Bleedin', Stinkin and Drinkin, and it fell apart. So, I think somewhere I might have released the intro of that or whatever, but it was, he didn't get that one done. But classic stuff that night of him playing, and so we got 2 songs done that night, and honestly, I didn't even know how Gigi did it, because we were pretty wrecked. We'd been drinking a lot for a long time that day. But anyways, there was another night where we were hanging out, and it was just me, Razor, and Gigi, and we were taking a little bit of time off from the drinking and the partying a little bit, because, I think we both just kind of needed a reset. So we're hanging out, and all of a sudden, Gigi picks up the acoustic guitar and walks into the bathroom. I kind of looked at Razor, and I said, wow, this is interesting. So we kind of both had that look in our eyes, and I went and I got a ghetto box, and I put it in front. Gigi was sitting on the toilet in the bathroom, and again, excuse me, geez, our house was an old, wooden Florida house with a clawfoot, metal tub, so there was good acoustics in there, a lot of reverberated well, and so the sound was pretty good, and I'm sure Gigi knew that. That's why I went in there. So he's sitting in there, and he's kind of strumming along, and I went and got a ghetto box, and I put it down by his feet, and he was cool with that. He didn't have any objections. So I'm thinking, okay, cool, he's kind of in here to do some songs, and he's okay with it being recorded. And that's how you had to work with Gigi. Like, he would just do stuff. I don't ever remember us like discussing something and then doing it. It was always kind of like impulsive. He'd just start doing stuff, and then like in this instance, I would just follow up with, I put the ghetto box in there. He didn't have an issue with it. So my next thought was, okay, let me set up a video camera and see if he's cool with that. So I did. No objections. And I was like, wow, this is, in my mind, I'm going, okay, this is going to be really cool. So he's sitting in there playing, and we had been listening to, as I've said in another video, we've been listening to a lot of Patsy Cline and old country music throughout that week. One particular song we had listened to that Patsy Cline was doing on this CD that we were listening to is Pick Me Up on Your Way Down. So Gigi's in there, and he's playing, and he starts just, playing that song and singing it. Okay, cool, whatever. But then I had the idea. I said, Razor, go in there and duet with Gigi. And this was outside of where Gigi was. So he didn't know this at the time. So she did. She goes in there, and she starts singing the song with him, and they sounded great together. And Gigi, again, no objections. That's why I know things were cool. So after that song kind of went off and sounded great, Gigi kind of kept going and had the inspiration to keep going. So then he did, I believe the next song he did was This Room. Him and Razor, did a vocal version of that together, a duet of that together. So I had 2 versions of acoustic This Room, one in the bathroom with Razor doing backing vocals, and then one in the living room that I posted that you guys have seen, where we were kind of buzzed up. And then they started, so we get that one done, and then Carmelita comes up. And Gigi starts doing that, and they, duet that together. And again, it sounded great. Gigi loved it. So it was really cool. And the whole thing about this is it was very organic. There was no planning. We didn't sit around and go, okay, let's go do some acoustic music, and Razor, you can do some backing vocals. This just kind of evolved. And I think it was because of that evolution and the way it just naturally happened, it just, I don't want to say it inspired Gigi, but it gave him some room to just be him and do some more acoustic stuff. And it was really cool. So in the bathroom sessions, let's see, there was 3 songs where Razor did backing vocals. Which to me was a big feat in and of itself, because Gigi typically didn't really have female backing vocals on his songs. I mean, early on he had some, Cherry Love Affair, and maybe with the Cedar Street Sluts or something. But later on, he didn't have that. So it was really cool. They ended up doing singing together on 5 songs. Carmelita, studio and acoustic, Pick Me Up on Your Way Down, This Room, and let's see, she did backing vocals on Snake Man's Dance too, or The Snake Man, whatever you want to call it. So Gigi really enjoyed the way they sounded together, the way they worked together, you know, so those acoustic sessions, though, that was the impetus then to have Razor do the backing vocals in the studio with Gigi. Because we hadn't planned that either. And then when Gigi liked the way they sounded together, then it was like, okay, let's do this in the studio for Carmelita. And then on Snake Man, he just didn't like the way he double-tracked his vocals, didn't like the way he sounded. So then, you know, actually after he went back to Ann Arbor, we ended up going back in the studio and putting Razor over top, and Gigi ended up liking it a lot. So that was kind of the story of how all this acoustic stuff evolved at, you know, when he was at the place. Again, we did 5 total acoustic songs, because in the bathroom that night he also did Borrowed Time, which was kind of a bastardized version of Outskirts of Life. But yeah, so that's the story of how Gigi, you know, how it came about that we got those acoustic recordings done. And again, it was all because my supervisor at my job at that time, Jerry, let me use the guitar and let me have it hanging around the house that week. So it was really cool. I think that's the night, actually, because we were all mellow that night after we did. I think that was the night we ended up watching Henry together, a little movie night with Gigi to boot. So anyways, just thought I'd share that acoustic stuff with you guys. Like I said, that was some of my favorite moments, I guess, with Gigi. Just that whole couple hours that we were doing that, because, you know, everything was in sync. You know, you just felt kind of magic happening or whatever. I mean, some people might have a different opinion on that, but at the time, yeah, it was just really cool because you could just feel something special was happening as it was, you know, taking place, and we were all really stoked with it all. So good stuff. Anyway, so that's that story for you guys. I hope you enjoy it, and if you did, you know, subscribe. Check out the channel for a lot more other Gigi content, and you can always hear all the punk artists on Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, and all the other streaming services. You guys have a great day, and thanks again for all the support and for checking out this video. See ya.